This is not just a story. This is a real-life incident. In 2014, a passenger aircraft, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, suddenly disappeared from the world's radar. Carrying 239 people, the plane took off from Kuala Lumpur, heading toward Beijing. But to this day, no one knows for sure what happened after that night. No complete wreckage, no clear answers. Only a deep mystery remains. If you enjoy real-life incidents and mysterious stories like this, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because here you'll discover many unknown stories based on true events. So let's begin the story of that mystery, a mystery that still haunts the world today.
On March 8, 2014, at 12:41 a.m., Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 departed from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, heading to Beijing, China. On board were 239 people, 227 passengers, and 12 crew members. Everything seemed normal. Some passengers were sleeping, some were looking out of the window, others were spending the final moments of the flight quietly. The captain of the aircraft was Zahari Ahmad Shah, an experienced pilot. At 1:19 a.m., the final communication came in. "Good night, Malaysian 370. And then, silence. Suddenly, the aircraft disappeared from radar. No SOS signal, no emergency message, nothing at all. A massive search operation began. Ships, planes, and satellites searched across a vast area, including the Indian Ocean. But days passed, then weeks, and nothing was found. Later, satellite data revealed that the plane had suddenly deviated from its planned route and turned west, heading toward an unknown region.
Even more strangely, satellite communication signals continued to be exchanged with the aircraft for several hours after it disappeared from radar, meaning the plane was still in the air. In 2015, a piece of the aircraft's wing washed up on an island in the Indian Ocean. This confirmed that the plane had crashed into the sea. But where is the rest of the plane? Where are the remaining parts? Where did the 239 people go? Even today, there is no definitive answer to these questions. Some say it was an accident. Others believe something mysterious happened. And the biggest question remains, if the plane really crashed, why has the entire wreckage still not been found? And if it didn't, then where is it now?
The search continued. Day after day, night after night. No one stopped. Search planes flew over the ocean, and advanced equipment was deployed deep into the waters. Every signal, every piece of data was carefully analyzed. But the more they searched, the deeper the mystery became. Because very quickly, an important fact emerged. Satellite analysis showed that the aircraft did not only change its route, it remained in the air for several hours. Meaning, while everyone thought the plane had disappeared, it was still flying somewhere. This finding completely changed the investigation.
So the question arose, who was flying the plane at that time? The pilot or someone else? Or did something unknown happen inside the aircraft? The plane moved toward an area with very limited radar coverage, as if it was deliberately trying to vanish. Then different theories began to emerge. Some believe something happened inside the cabin. Some say it was a major system failure. Others think it was something planned. But another important detail came out. Some of the aircraft's communication systems were manually switched off. This no longer seemed like a simple accident. At that point, the situation became even more complicated. Some eyewitnesses claimed they saw strange lights in the sky that night. The light was not stable. It kept changing direction suddenly. Some say it was military technology. Some say a natural phenomenon, and others believe it is beyond explanation.
Meanwhile, when search teams reached specific areas, they faced new challenges. Some equipment stopped working properly, and certain signals suddenly disappeared. Divers reported a strange silence deep underwater. It felt like sound could not travel there. Sonar scans picked up unusual shapes, but nothing could be clearly identified. Even more strangely, the debris that was found was not in one place. It was scattered across different locations, as if it did not break apart at once, but was spread out separately. Is that normal crash behavior? Or something else? As the investigation continued, the questions only increased. There were no definite answers. Only one thing became clear. This was not a normal accident. And perhaps, that night, it wasn't just a plane that disappeared. A whole truth disappeared too. Still hidden somewhere, in an unknown darkness. As time went on, the investigation went even deeper. But instead of answers, the mystery only grew stronger. Experts began analyzing the entire incident, every second, every data point, every possible scenario. Gradually, several theories emerged, some realistic, others frightening. The first theory, this was a planned event. Some investigators believe that the change in route, the loss of communication, and the deviation from the flight path were all intentional. Someone had taken control of the aircraft. But the question remains, why? The second theory, a mechanical failure. Perhaps a lack of oxygen in the cabin, or a pressurization problem. As a result, the crew and passengers may have become unconscious. The plane then continued flying on autopilot until it eventually ran out of fuel. This explanation is considered realistic by many experts, as it aligns with known aviation scenarios. But even here, questions remain. If everyone was unconscious, how did the route change? Why were some systems turned off manually? This leads to the third, most controversial theory. Some people believe the aircraft entered a region where normal systems don't behave as expected. Compasses become unreliable, signals become unstable, and even technology behaves strangely. This is not scientifically proven, yet various reports and discussions continue to fuel the idea. Some online analyses even claim that unusual energy patterns were detected via satellite that night. Something that appeared suddenly and then disappeared just as quickly. Was it a natural phenomenon or something else? Another, even more unusual idea suggests the aircraft was not completely destroyed. Instead, for unknown reasons, it may have ended up somewhere else, a place beyond the reach of current technology. This theory is not proven, but it makes the mystery even deeper. Meanwhile, search operations continued in the ocean depths. Some scans detected unusual structures, but nothing clearly identifiable. Signals would appear, then vanish again. Data files would become corrupted during analysis. Everything seemed incomplete. Is this just a technical limitation? Or is something being hidden? After all the analysis, one thing becomes clear. This is not just a simple plane crash. There may be something behind it that we still do not fully understand. Maybe we are searching in the wrong place. Maybe the truth is very close, but we simply cannot see it yet. And that is why this mystery remains unsolved to this day. And perhaps, until that final truth comes forward, this story will never truly end.
As the mystery deepens, human curiosity only grows stronger. And at that very point, the darkest aspects of the incident begin to surface. At one stage of the search, some rescue teams reported that in a specific area of the ocean, they experienced something difficult to explain. After diving into the deep waters, their equipment suddenly began behaving abnormally. Sonar signals kept returning, but they were not normal echoes. It was as if something was down there, but not something stable or fixed. One diver later said, "We could feel something, but it couldn't be seen." This statement created unease among investigators, because science tries to explain everything, but here, some things were not following any known rules. Meanwhile, another piece of information emerged. The debris of the aircraft that was found did not match normal ocean current patterns.
Meaning they were not supposed to drift there naturally. So how did they end up there? Was it coincidence? Or did something else happen? Around the same time, there were mentions of a classified report. It claimed that on that night, military radar detected an unusual object, a fast-moving signal that came very close to the aircraft for a short period. And then, both disappeared. This information was never officially confirmed, yet it raised even more questions. Was the plane alone in the sky? Or was there something else present? Meanwhile, researchers noticed something else. Around the world, there have been similar incidents. Aircraft and ships disappearing without a trace. No wreckage, no signals, only emptiness. Some people found patterns among these cases.
As if this was not a single event, but part of an unknown pattern. And that raises a deeper question. Was this just an accident? Or is there something behind it? Something we still do not understand. But beyond all theories, one reality remains. 239 people who took off into the sky that night never returned. For their families, this is not a mystery. It is an unfinished weight. A question that still has no answer. And that answer may exist somewhere, deep in the ocean, or in some unknown place beyond reach, where light cannot reach, where sound cannot reach. Only the echo of a lost story remains. Years have passed, but the mystery still stands in the same place. The official search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 ended long ago, yet human curiosity has never stopped. Because the questions are still alive. If the plane really crashed into the ocean, then where is the main wreckage? If it broke apart in the sky, then why was such a large aircraft never fully found? And if everything was planned, then who did it and why? There are no confirmed answers to these questions. Still, over time, new pieces of information occasionally emerge, making the mystery even more complicated.
Some researchers claim that reanalysis of old satellite data revealed patterns that were previously overlooked. The aircraft's final trajectory, its position, and the moment communication was lost all seem to point in a certain direction. But what that direction is still remains unknown. Meanwhile,
new tests were conducted on some recovered debris. Based on the type of damage, some experts say these marks are not consistent with normal ocean impact. Instead, they appear far more unusual, as if the materials were exposed to some abnormal conditions for a long period of time. This claim is not scientifically confirmed, yet the debate continues. And once again, the mystery comes alive. Some people still believe this incident was not just an accident, but something that humanity has not yet fully understood. Because despite all modern technology, how can an entire aircraft simply disappear? That question remains the greatest puzzle of all. And the most human part of this story is the families of those who never returned. For them, this is not theory, not discussion. It is waiting. A kind of waiting that has no end. And so this incident will remain not just in history, but forever in human memory. A lost flight, an unfinished journey, and a truth still hidden in darkness. In the end, the question remains the same. Did the sky truly swallow them? Or is someone or something still hiding that story?
Amid all the mystery, one thing has become clearer over time. This incident is as much human as it is technological. Because it wasn't just an aircraft that was lost. Many lives and many futures were lost with it. Investigators analyzed data for years, yet everything seems to stop at one point. What really happened in those final moments? No one can answer that with certainty. There were some signals, some radar data, some pieces of debris, but the full picture was never completed. As if the most important piece of the puzzle is still missing. And that missing piece is what keeps the mystery alive. Over time, new theories have emerged. Some say it was human error. Some say a technical failure. Others believe it was a deliberate act. But every theory has one problem. None of them can fully explain the truth. That is the most unusual part of this incident. What we know is limited, and what we don't know is vast. As technology has advanced, people believed the answers would one day be found. But reality has turned out differently. Even as new technology brings new information, the old questions have only grown deeper. Some researchers still believe that, in the future, new data or new discoveries may finally offer a clearer explanation. But until then, everything remains speculation. And within that speculation lives a story. The story of a lost flight. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 is no longer just the name of an incident. It has become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history. And perhaps the answer to this mystery is still hidden in the deep darkness of the Indian Ocean, or somewhere beyond human understanding. In the end, only one question remains. What really happened in the sky that night?
The night grows deeper, and that unknown story in the sky feels even heavier. Years have passed, yet no one can say for certain what those final moments of the flight were really like. Did Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 truly vanish into the depths of the ocean? Or did its story come to an end somewhere in the sky? The more investigators tried to piece the evidence together, the more gaps appeared. A signal here,
a piece of data there, debris found far away. But the entire story in between remains missing. And that is the most unusual part. Because in a typical accident, at least some clear evidence is found. But here, there are only scattered traces and countless questions. Some experts still say, perhaps we are looking at the entire event the wrong way.
Maybe the answer isn't hidden in some grand mystery, but in a very small moment. A decision, a change, a single second that altered everything. But what that moment was, no one knows. On the other hand, some believe this event may not be limited to the rules we understand. They suggest there are places where the limits of human understanding begin to break down, where routes are lost, signals fail, and reality itself becomes unclear. This idea is not proven, yet it deepens the mystery even further. Now the question is no longer just about a plane. It is about the limits of human knowledge. How much do we really know? And how much still remains unknown? All the data, all the technology, all the analysis still leave behind an empty space. A place with no answers. Only silence. The vast depths of the Indian Ocean still seem to say nothing, yet hide something. And perhaps that hidden truth is the greatest mystery of all. In the end, the story does not truly end here, because some mysteries never end. They simply wait for someone, someday, to uncover the truth.
Time moves forward. The world changes. But some events remain unchanged. The story of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 still returns again and again to researchers' tables. New technology, new analysis, new assumptions. All of it keeps circling back to the same old questions. At one point, it was believed that modern satellite data would reveal everything. But in reality, it only created more confusion. Some data suggests one thing, other data suggests another. And in between, there is only emptiness. And that emptiness is the real mystery. Because every time people try to determine the aircraft's final position, it becomes clear. The last path is never fully defined. Some parts fit, others remain missing. Even the recovered debris does not tell the full story. It only confirms that something happened, but how it happened is still unknown. Within that unknown, people form their own explanations.
Some say it was a technical failure. Some say human error. Others believe there is something behind it that is yet to be revealed. But no theory can fully explain the truth. And that is the most unsettling part of this event. Because usually, after a major accident, at least some truth comes to light. But here, the truth itself seems to be hidden. The vast silence of the Indian Ocean remains unchanged. Whether the answers lie somewhere within that silence, or everything has been lost forever, no one knows. But one thing is certain. As long as humans continue to fly, this question will keep returning. Where did the plane go? And what really happened in the sky that night? That answer remains unsolved. And perhaps it always will.
In the end, the story is no longer just about an aviation accident. It becomes a lasting human mystery. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 is no longer just a line in history, but a question mark that continues to grow with time. For years, people believed that one day the full truth would finally come to light. But as time has passed, it has become clear some events are not only hard to find, they may never be fully understood. Because every part of this incident points to a different truth, yet none of them come together to form a complete picture. On one side, there is radar data. On another, satellite signals. And then scattered pieces of recovered debris. But missing is that one crucial moment. The moment that could have explained everything. And that absence is the greatest mystery of all. Humans naturally search for answers, and so many theories have been formed around this event.
But each theory eventually reaches a limit, a point where there is no definitive proof. So now, the question is no longer just what happened. It is, will we ever truly know the truth? The Indian Ocean remains a silent witness. Within that silence, there are no answers, no responses, only an unknown emptiness. And it is this very unknown that keeps the story from ever ending. It returns again and again with new data, new questions, new assumptions, until, in the end, only one reality remains. Some mysteries may not exist to be solved, but to be remembered. And this is one of those stories. A story that never truly ends. It simply continues. In the end, all analysis, all searches, and all theories come to a halt, facing an incomplete truth. The more the Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappearance has been investigated, the clearer it has become. Some parts of this event may remain unknown forever. The final radar data, satellite signals, and the pieces of debris recovered from the ocean have all been used in an attempt to form a complete picture. But that picture has never been fully completed. Exactly when, where, and how the aircraft disappeared, none of these three fundamental questions have been definitively answered to this day. The search covered vast areas, especially deep within the Indian Ocean. Yet the more it was explored, the more silence it returned. And that silence has become the greatest anomaly, because the absence of clear answers is in itself the biggest question. Still, science has not stopped. New technologies, fresh data analysis, and ongoing research continue to focus on this event. Perhaps one day, something will emerge that forces the entire story to be rewritten. But for now, the reality remains simple and harsh. 239 people boarded a journey, and they never returned. And an entire aircraft disappeared from the world. No confirmed cause, no complete explanation, only countless questions. This event now stands as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history. And so, the story ends with this truth. Not every mystery can be solved. Some mysteries stay with us forever.
If you found this mystery interesting, feel free to give the video a like. And if you want to see more mysterious stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned.